Well, this is about the active-active HA in Cinder, and we've been discussing this for quite a while. And well, I think we all agree that we do need active-active. Those that don't consider it like something important, they are not opposed as long as we don't degrade the service for active-passive configurations. So, well, reasons why we need it, you either care or you don't. Yeah. So to get there, we have quite a number of issues to work around. Basically, we need to remove the API races. I don't know if you are all aware. We have to find a way to distribute jobs to the clusters, and for each node in the cluster to proceed to work on one of the jobs. We have to do cleanup of nodes of the jobs that were in the air when a node crashes. We have to prevent data corruption. We basically need to prevent multiple nodes from the cluster to work on the same resource. And we have to work around the local file logs because now we need them to spread across the cluster. On the API races, we have specs and we have some patches to allow atomic state changes to the database. There are actually multiple solutions. We can do it with logs, although there are, now that the DLM is something that we can actually set hard requirements on, because we can assume there's going to be one. We could potentially solve this with the logs, but there are concerns that will not fix it, because you could be reading stale database data. I don't know much about it, but I heard someone mention it. Yeah. So I don't know. Potentially that doesn't work.
So from my perspective, the component swap is better, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
That's how we should work.
Yeah. Okay. So we some time ago we did some tests also with compare and swap against locking or select for update.
It's something like
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and actually what swap and compare was it was actually quite fast in comparison. So one of the issues we have with compare and swap is basically that you make a request to change or update a record, but you set a lot of different conditions, and when it fails, you have no clue as to which of one made you fail. So you have to retrieve the data from the database and check every condition. But
can we do that inside the session? You do proxy.
you do that, right?
Yeah.
You put it out, so can we return all of that in the exception? Put a dig in the exception.
Well, look at his code. Let him finish.
I don't understand what you mean. You create a request, you say update this if you don't have a snapshot, which actually are checking on our table, and the status is whatever, let's say active, available or error, and a couple of more, and you just know that whether it went through. So if it failed, you don't know if it was because of the snapshot, that your volume like to delete a volume with a snapshot, so or it's just that the status is migrated.
That thread to update, so that update where clause you got inside a session, because all of our stuff runs inside the session. So in the case where it fails, you can do some ordinary selects, you can pull out, I mean, it shouldn't be failing off, I hope.
Yeah. No.
And you can go for the complex cases, you can do some selects in the same session to find out what went wrong.
Well, not only the same section, but inside the try and catch block for for update.
Yeah, but you've got to be in the same session as well, otherwise
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So in the DB code, it can return the bit that went wrong by going and looking at the date range in the session.
Right, but you still have to go and check it, right? So,
Yes, in the code received, absolutely, but then
in between selecting for update, failure,
And the select.
and the select.
no, you mean a session. A session is atomic. That's
So,
the
so
definition.
hear him out, because
No,
you're
well,
talking about the same thing. You are in the same
No.
session. He's in the same. His code is in the same session.
I think that Duncan mentions that it is possible to get from the session why the update failed.
Yes. So
It's
what I'm
possible.
saying in
Maybe not
code,
through the
the code
SQL
is
heavy,
got.
but do another side.
You don't do another select.
The database can be updated between those two queries
Not if you're
by
in a
another
session.
process.
Not if you're in
Not
a
if you
session.
don't
You
do
can't.
it.
That's what sessions mean. Start session.
Oh, you mean transaction?
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
called
Oh,
sessions.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a
They're,
transaction.
yeah, they're called sessions in SQL for me. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay. So,
Sorry, yeah.
using
Tran-
a
transaction
transaction.
is better term.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. The problem wouldn't. Okay. The problem is that in the different APIs that we're looking into, there are that actually take a couple of different ones. So I don't know if it actually slow it down because you're creating a transaction with multiple tables. That is actually better or worse.
So there's a lot of stuff to talk about, but I mean, this sounds like an
Oh, yeah.
implementation thing that we could.
Yeah, okay, I will look into that. Anyway, there are multiple solutions to that potential raise. Some are, basically they all work. The difference is whether you want to add a new exception to return when a raise condition happen, or if you want to look back. There are multiple ones, but I think we all agree that even if we use a transaction, that compare and swap is basically what we want to do.
Yeah, and for a lot of these error messages, it's either the volume is the wrong state or some other preconditional is met, and that's actually all the information you need. So maybe you just check the status in the transaction and be generic for everything else.
Yeah, but then we are changing the errors we're returning, right?
Which we've always been allowed to do. As long as the HTTP code, you say, the actual explanation can be
Then
more detailed.
we could
do
have-
that all the time.
Yeah, one of the solutions was just return a generic error, like we could.
Yeah, but generic errors suck.
No, I mean generic in the sense that you are saying the operation could not proceed because requirements were not met, and you specify which were the requirements. Like you cannot have a snapshot. The status must be this one.
Yeah.
So you enumerate all the requirements. So it's generic, yet you're specifying which one. You're just not pointing out it was this one.
But the HTTP error code that we return is exactly the same.
Yeah, we would be.
I say we can do a mixture of specific and generic error messages. So I think the volume station ones that we currently return, getting rid of those would be a step backwards. But we can store the ones we currently return, plus a generic one for everything else if needed.
Okay, we can look into that. Yeah, that will be easier for me. Yeah. So job distribution. Okay, when we have active passive, we basically have a one-on-one mapping from host to the storage backend. So in active, you have n host that will serve the same storage backend. So we actually need them to be grouped. We could, the first idea that comes to mind is to just use the same host we are using now, the topic queue, and you just send your jobs there. The problem is that then how can you tell when a node process which jobs were actually left out in here and you need to clean up. If you use the host, you have no unique way to identify each one of your nodes from the cluster, and you cannot do the cleanup. So there are two things here.
That's not the only downside, because service list gets broken if you override the host.
Service list.
Yeah. So if you override the host name, then A, you'd override you for every service on that host, every service reading that cinder.com.
Yeah.
And B, if you've got 4 services, all 4 can send back and you override the host, but you one entry in cinder service list, which is
Right.
it's another downside.
But that's another thing. I don't know if we should actually have multiple entries in the default service list for a cluster, because from the service standpoint of view, if you're looking for a service for a backend, you don't care how many they generate, not
The scheduler
you
doesn't
don't-
care, but the admin running Cinder
Well,
service list.
okay. I have in the specs. I have
That
two.
might be an API.
The batch one will not show you any detail. So you will just say the service is running because at least I have one working. So I can access the backend and it's working as long as one is working. But we would add a new API or modify current API so you can get detail, like how many are up, which ones are up, that kind of detail that is required. But
They don't break.
Yeah.
it's,
Breaks the,
yeah.
for the one.
Yeah.
It's like only one.
exactly.
So how do you disable one of those and?
Using the new API.
We already have disable now.
I don't think you want to disable just one SQL from a cluster.
Yeah, you want to
Yeah,
disable.
you will want.
If you want to take some hardware down.
Yeah,
But
you will want. That's one of the problems we
I mean,
discussed.
you need to disable full cluster because
What?
that
No,
Oh
I
my
definitely
God,
don't
that's the
want
whole
to
point of
disable
that
the whole
commanded.
point of that command. If I want to take one down to change that
Yeah.
hardware, I want to do it cleanly. I want to drain
okay,
it.
so disable is only affecting the scheduler.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
so
schedule-
stop sending it work.
Yes.
Then
Yeah,
it will,
no,
then
no,
it will drain.
But
and then
that's
I
not
get-
for that.
No.
And now,
Yeah.
if you want to have if you want to do maintenance mode some kind, you got to disable the service that has the queue. It will basically shut down, and then you will be able to.
Okay. The main problem we have now is that disable is not actually disable. It just disable a scheduler. Everything else still works. Anything that doesn't go through the scheduler will work with a disabled
So with
service.
this,
There are other reasons
so
for
with
that.
this-
No, I understand the reasons. I just mean that what we have now with the disable feature, you would not be able to do that. You
Yeah.
need a
So,
new
can I-
one
can I-
that is basically how the node.
So with,
Right.
with this kind of thing you're proposing, and I'm sorry, I think we've got two different understandings of how this thing works.
Okay.
Is the scheduler still going to dispatch to a host, or is it going to now dispatch to a cluster queue and round robin and round rabbit? Because
That's the second.
okay, I don't like that.
Sorry. No. You should be able with the new API to specify. I don't know if I
when
got it.
the scheduler chooses a cluster to put a volume on, the same you choose a host today.
Great volume.
For
Yeah.
trade volume,
Yeah.
it chooses a cluster that
Yes.
based on stats,
Yeah.
etc. Does it then send the message to a cluster rabbit queue, or does it send to a host rabbit queue?
To a cluster.
Right, because it will have the individual host names in that cluster. And so it could just have pick a host.
Yeah,
and
then you
can
turn,
disable it.
yeah, but then you run into a lot of other problems. You have to actually be sure that that host is there,
You have a
and
scope
you
problem.
have to, you don't do async. It gets more complicated because host may be there between her heartbeats, so you run into other problems. So the easier way is to be able to disable a specific host from a cluster. That way you could get them out of the cluster. But that's basically what you
So-
would want.
So my understanding of
That's nice because of heartbeating with rabbit and so on. Rabbit knows that's something died out of the cluster.
So I may be misunderstanding this, but when you send the message to the queue, to the cluster,
Yes.
I thought it was one of them to decide to pick it up and the first one that picks it up wins.
Yes.
So
Correct.
it's not round robining. It's
Rabbit will-
actually-
if you've got three things listening on a queue, the one that wins that, if they're all listening at the same time, is always round robin. So given our worker model, unless you run out workers, like it will always round robin. This is not like our rabbit model.
I see. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's probably fine.
Yes. And if one of those disabled, it should not be listening to the message queue.
So I think I just want to disable RPC because it's basically your complete shutdown. But
Yeah. That's,
we can have that as another.
Yes.
So yeah, we're fine with making.
Otherwise, then there's no point of doing any of
yes.
this.
Yeah.
Because you can't bring a node down to fix it.
Okay. And the idea is that default cluster value will be the host. That way, we will not, we will be backward compatible. cluster will be just, if you don't configure cluster value in the configuration, it will use the host, and everything will look the same to the user. And that way we can also have easily add new nodes to the cluster. It's not clean, but you can have only an active node, and just configure a new one, setting the cluster to the other one's host name, and both will be active immediately without shutdown, which is a good thing. It's not clean because the cluster name is not really specific. It's the other host name, but
then you can shut that host name down and fix it.
Yeah,
No service.
yeah. Whenever you can actually do the shutdown. The thing we may have is DB file changes, field changes, because right now we are in many places specifying a host, when now the concept will be clustered in those places. So we have to actually see if we want to make the DB changes or just keep working with hosts and just have that thing, that
So
weird
this
thing
is
with
another backward compatible change. So like,
yeah.
Well, it's only naming. We can rename cluster to the host and rename host to something else. And change
That won't
let's go.
confuse anyone.
Well,
Well,
cluster
that is
if
something
everyone
we
is
still
running
have to look at.
Yeah, if you're running passive, it
Yeah.
would work actually. But for example, if you are placing their volume as active, and they use this hack with host using the same host on tree, so that would break yours. But well, they release a new version every OpenStack version.
And they we fix
Yeah,
that.
no, yeah, we actually have to look into it and decide. Yeah. Okay, since we will have different nodes reporting with we will have to add some information like the cluster that is being reported, and the scheduler will have to aggregate those to be able to report if the whole service as one is working or not. It has some API impact, like I mentioned, because we have to be able to report independent in each one, and some database model changes. Everything is in the spec. Maybe not everything, because maybe the DB file rename is missing, but I will add it.
There's one more thing to that. Also, if we are running with multiple single volumes, we get multiple compatibility reports.
Yes.
They should be in sync because it's always when reporting the compatibility, it is always asking the driver for the compatibility number.
So the one
the
one downside of this is that if you are running it active, right, and you have multiple instances talking to the same array, for those of us that collect a lot of statistics, it's pretty painful process to do. We don't want to do that 10 times every 60 seconds, right? We want some sort of hint to let us know that.
But when we say we stored active, should we be saying you probably only want 2 of these?
I don't know. Do we
I mean, the IO problem, which is the scalability thing, I actually think we should scale IO separately. I've thought that for a while. Not scale IO by active, but have a pool of IO word processes that can take word from the volume.
Yeah, split the control path from the data path.
That's not the problem I'm talking about. It's the actual process of making requests to our array and asking our array to collect the statistic can be a painful process. We don't want to do that n times for n SQL services that we want to run.
Well,
right?
one of the advice,
not necessarily.
One of the pieces of advice, at least initially, is n should be 2. And
Even that could still be painful.
Yeah, right. We have to look into that. Yeah.
You can turn down these stats areas.
Right now
We can also
triggered in like the management. So the volume service triggers that from the update. Can we?
And the refresh flag is supposed to.
Right. So
Can we move that to the scheduler? And make the scheduler request you from back end? Well,
So only one answers. Yeah.
but your problem then is that going to hammer the scheduler doing RPCs to end in the volume.
Yeah.
Whereas people like Rax and public cloud one have a lot of in the volume services.
That's probably better. Otherwise, you're still going to.
There's another alternative that you return the a timestamp when you refresh. So if you receive,
The driver can make a decision
yeah,
whether
one
it's
every
actually
10
refreshing
times,
or not.
yeah, and you always keep the newest one. You receive 10, okay, but you only keep the most updated one. That way, it's quite easy.
We had actually looked at doing that internally to our single driver instance because we don't want to do this every
Yeah.
60 seconds because some of those things are expensive to do. But if we had a hint coming from whoever's calling us when the last time it was updated, then it could be automated because you're spreading this out over n times. We don't know. This instance doesn't know.
Well, that is dynamically add your CVOL.
So that sounds like a separate transit word from the
Yeah,
rest that
yes.
we looked at.
Yes, and optimization on
Yes.
on this.
I just
Yeah.
don't want
we
to
start
kill our
scaling.
array having
Yeah.
to collect statistics about what volumes it has when it needs to be serving I/O.
Okay. I think we should add it here. I don't know if somebody's adding that so that they can remember to add to a specification that we have to look into that as a reminder that it's something. Where were we? Okay. What was this?
Make it so.
A little over 10 minutes.
So can I just bring up John's answer to this since he's not here very quickly? Because he said you can do most of this right now with pacemaker. Active, passive, no downtime.
Sorry.
Instead of doing active, what's wrong with active, passive, and pacemaker?
Because people want active.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
get
but why? Like people want to pony.
Because our
back to this.
Because Pony
Yes, we do.
Pony-
Redundancy for SLA, super higher workloads, like you mentioned. Now we have everything together, the data path and the control path. So by having a multiple nodes, you can increase your workload. So
But
that's
we can
another
fix
reason.
that by fixing the scalability problem instead. I mean, I'm bringing this up with John Bull.
Yeah, I
I
know.
couldn't think of a
Yeah,
really
he
good
he
answer.
always brings it up.
Yeah.
That's why this slide is there. I mean, do we need it? Yes. And last time we discussed it with him, he mentioned that, well, okay, I don't think it's important, but as long as you don't make everything work worse, he was fine with it.
Degradation is also code complexity.
It's what some people consider enterprise requirement, and so that's why customers ask for it.
I don't,
That's
as
why
an
product
admin, don't want to have to be constantly looking and know that I have to swap over.
Well, that's why you don't have to swap
As a
everything
cloud
over.
operator,
Computer's running, I know,
I can't take
so-
down,
But still,
your volume node for maintenance.
With pacemaker, yes, you can. You turn it
Well,
off.
I know we do it,
but still scalability is an issue. And okay, maybe there's some you can get this the scalability stuff in a little easier way, but with a little extra work, you can get actual effective with this
And to
job
play,
distribution available.
to play devil's advocate a little bit though too. I don't want to run a pacemaker. Why
That was
can't
my
Cinder
answer.
do this?
Yeah, that was my
Out of
answer.
the box. We're intentionally have code in place in Cinder to not allow you to do this for no good reason.
Oh, there were good reasons. It doesn't work.
Well,
That's not a good reason.
That's not a good reason. That's our fault. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I'm asking the question to try and collect
No, no,
answers. So I haven't got a good single clean answer for that. I mean, I like the idea of trying to go active, but like you can get the same effect, the same SLA, the same resiliency right now with pacemaker. The scalability thing we can solve differently, and I think actually we should anyway. But that's a separate.
I agree.
Yeah, but that can be managed. No, because that can be managed from a single Cinder Vault service. It depends on the work quickly.
Okay, 10 minutes.
Okay.
I brought it up. That was the.
Yeah.
My general.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, there's a reason we got on the wrong group name.
Okay, then there's the cleanup of any cross node that had jobs in the air. We currently do it in hostinit, so that is a problem because each node, well,
Each node is going to try and do the cleanup.
yeah, but
And a node doesn't know if any other nodes in the cluster is actually working on that or not, doing special solution.
and we also need if the node.
Yes, makes things a little easier.
And if the node isn't brought up, you have 3 nodes in the cluster, one dies, you still have to make the cleanup. And the node, if it's not brought up, is not going to do any cleanup. So
this is by far the bit I've most nervous about. I suggest from initial implementation, we make the cleanup manual. We write the code that would do the cleanup, but rather than triggering from the scheduler or anything like that, we have an API call, which is admin only, where the admin can trigger the cleanup. We can trigger that same thing later from the scheduler when we're more confident. This is the bit I think is going to give us corruption and all kinds of trouble.
So we are.
I see. Yep.
So we have to strip out the init host. So
Right now we are not
So we
doing.
we strip it out of the stuff that's in the new host out now, and we just leave the things frozen until an admin calls cleanup for them for now, and then we can iterate on improving that slowly.
Okay, and what about if you have if you want the same behavior you have right now? You know, active passive.
Put it in the comp file and instead of stripping it out. Just
well, you don't set the cluster name. You know you're not a cluster, and then
And then you actually do the cleanup in hostinit.
Yeah.
we already do
Okay,
it.
that's
right?
that's probably.
that seems easy.
Yeah, just disable it if you.
The cleanup goes in some utils or somewhere someone else, and this just does it.
Okay, then we cannot actually add a node without shutting down the other one. If you have active passive and you want to,
Or your best
do active
practice is
active,
to always set a cluster name, but then that circumvents what it said.
So
What you
to
could do there is you put in the upgrade notes. These upgrades don't have to be really simple. Your instruction for the upgrade is you write the cinder conf and you rewrite the cinder conf on your old name, on your old node that's currently up to disable the cleanup on hosting it. Then nothing will do the cleanup now, and then you can bring your node up to the services club.
Actually, with the new dynamic configuration changes, we could do
Even
this.
without the dynamic configuration, because the host is up. It's done. If you're going to do anything, it's done it.
It's not a problem if you restart the Cinder volume service because it will stop all the work in a graceful way, and all the work that gets queued on the RabbitMQ. So that's no downtime, right, from my perspective.
Yeah, I don't think we should hold this up because we are afraid to restart Cinder. We restart Cinder all the time.
Yeah, but restarting Cinder can hurt when you're doing a glance image transfer. A graceful shutdown.
Right, we have that problem today.
Yeah, but you can actually avoid it because you just as long as you disable it in Cinder.com, you can disable it. So on the next restart, you won't do it. It's already done it. It's going to do it.
Yep. Okay.
So not actually a problem.
We can solve this as a follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I'll change the spec to remove the scheduler cleanup for now, and leave it basically as it is with a configuration option, and add a new API that will allow to trigger the cleanup.
Should it be an API?
Or you don't need to run it from a command line to.
Yeah, I think
like
like
that Cinder managed.
I don't think we want to more Cinder managed stuff. Cinder managed gives such I'd rather not. I'd rather just make an API and be done with it.
Okay. So if we do it that way, we just remove this problem, like you were saying.
Yeah.
We just got rid of this one because there's no chance of the scheduler and the node trying to clean up at the same time. Okay. And wait, I'm thinking in the cleanup, if you have to trigger it manually, you actually have to trigger it before the nodes get restarted.
No.
Then how can you tell that you have to only do the cleanup of the work that it was doing before and not the one it's doing now?
It'll be in the in state, so you have some volume to get stuck in some in state until you.
Yeah, and now you start working and you start creating new instances, new resources in those states. So you have to.
We also currently have this idea of a driver being initialized as well. that we gate on allowing driver calls happening until the initialized state is set to true.
Yeah.
So when you start a new one up, it could, after it successfully goes and initializes a driver, you can still leave it as uninitialized or some other state until you issue the cleanup command, potentially. It's up, it's running, it knows it can talk to the back end, but we're not going to allow you to do anything yet. It's not going to listen to the queue until, I don't know.
This is the bit I think has the most, by far the most potential to screw up our customer data. I think we'll get it wrong at least twice. So I'd rather be as conservative as humanly possible with this. You know, if this part is still ugly and manual at the end of this cycle, I won't be upset.
Okay, I will also try to think of a way of doing it, like also with a timestamp, like clean up jobs that were before this time, so you can actually, because if you have restarted, you know that the jobs you start working now are more
So
recent.
column when you restart, it says, I found this stuff as lead state. So when you do the manual command, clean it up.
I like the way if we could have the workers DB table, the workers DB table for in-flight operations. I think that's a good idea anyway. Particularly if you put the request ID in it, we still enable us to do events and polling and stuff that we will do later. So I think that's good infrastructure if it's not a performance problem. We don't do anything automatically with it. So have the operations in flight table and add enough API calls for the admin to be able to clean up the stuff in flight. But
Okay, I will look into it.
we don't do anything 3 minutes completely automatically.
Okay.
The first thing was that we are adding like school DB calls to each API call. That's kind of performance. But you are always pointing out the performance issues, and now you are not doing it. But probably this is fine.
And well, the next two topics we have to deal with are logs, and we have another session, so it's not a big deal that we just run into the time. And basically are the local file logs we have in the manager, which are 4 different ones, and the ones we have in the drivers. The thing is, we can remove some of at least one of the logs in the manager, but that could remove an implicit contract where we queue things on the delete. So if we can do it without breaking it, it's better. So, and since we already have to do it for drivers and for the other logs in manager, maybe we should just go that way. Now that we potentially have a DLM, we may use it for this. I think it was Duncan that had some concerns about the performance and scalability.
The performance, and also is this DLM acting as shelving distributions? Yeah. I would not want to be the first project to use the DLM. I think that's going to be a fun side. I think operators are going to hate this.
So let's chip in Zookeeper.
Well, we already, in the cross-project, already said no Zookeeper because we did one on Java.
It's not no Zookeeper. It's about to make
They said use twos, but I thought they said that they were going to reference
implementation.
Yeah.
No,
because it's already being used for something else.
I think automatic operators and distributors are being matched around a bit. I wouldn't take that session answer as
Yeah, I think it's Ceilometer, the one that is using twos, and I think they are using Redis.
reference implementation
So,
So I'll say that my distribution for my employer will make this happen to get HA. We'll get a DL.
That's our problem.
Yeah.
We can't impose that on everyone.
yeah, well, actually, the thing is that if we don't use a DLM, the other alternative is the one I propose in the spec, is basically do a DLM with the database.
But I don't think we have to impose
And
that
maybe
people use a
it's
DLM.
even
I think we have
lower.
to impose to use a DLM if they want active action.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what TOOS does. The default patch that it's already up basically uses local file logs by default. So it's
If the
basically
employer want active,
then
you gotta have a DLM. You gotta deal with it.
Yep.
But if you don't, then you don't, it works.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable saying that for the drivers. I would prefer to try and come up with a different solution to manage a lock personally. I think if we can not require it for drivers that don't need it, we would be in a better
Oh,
state.
yeah. Yeah. So,
Sensible drivers that don't need locking don't end up needing a DLM in their thing.
yeah. And has anybody looked at the alternative using the database?
I did.
Because the problem is that now we are removing the automatic cleanup, which was the one that was cleaning our logs by timeout. So
We found that's really easier. We might think of an alternative maybe future. Because it's easier to implement it without this all the database based locking stuff. It's terribly complicated.
So-
Seems like the DLM, I don't
Well-
understand why that's a problem to say, if you want active, use the DLM.
yeah, well, I think one can
Because DLM suck. And it's the only
That's
reason.
not a good, that's,
Yes,
DLM
it
suck
is.
is not a,
Yes, it is, Scott.
that's a qualitative thing. I mean, what's the quantitative?
It's going to make your distribution harder. It's going to make Cinder harder to stand up and less reliable.
Then don't use active. I mean,
Yeah, but if your storage
No.
backend doesn't need the
Yeah.
DLM
If
and
the
it's
only
only
reason you're
4
selling
logs,
the DLM is 2 locks in the manager, then let's see if we can get rid of that.
Yeah.
well, so Orca has a patch for that. I mean, you know.
We have several possible patches for it.
What's wrong with doing the DLM is like, you might need it to get HA right now, right? But there's a path forward, right? We do that first. You can get HA if you want with DLM. If you don't install the DLM and you do HA without it, you don't need it. It's not a regression, right? It still defaults to file logs. Going forward, we can optimize.
This
right?
was the discussion we had at the Mitaka meeting, and we
That's why I
decided,
don't want to have that discussion at the next bid cycle, because we haven't solved the problem. I mean,
yeah, we decided to see if we can go a route without requiring a DLM.
that's why I
And
created
I
the,
think that is still
Yeah.
a worthy cause.
Yes.
that's what,
For
logs.
Sure.
One of which, at least a couple of them, we can remove if we are not backward compatible with the queues.
You can also use a flag in the volume record for that. Put a pending delete flag in the volume record and check at the end of every operation you're done.
And how do you clean up
I'm
the
understanding that.
pending operation?
How do you clean the what's that?
If the node crashes and leaves that operation,
Leaves what
the-
operation?
you set a flag, but
Yeah.
somebody has to clean it if the node dies in the middle. You need a timeout, some way of removing that lock.
So, okay, yeah, you'll need
That's why.
the workman needs to reach call delete on them. You know, add an API that can list everything that's pending delete, and the admin can make a call about that being too long and delete it. There's lots of ways of orchestrating that.
Yeah, but
I just don't.
I think we are doing everything manual. Everywhere we're
Manual,
trying to
automatic,
do,
whatever.
like you have to remove your logs manually. It's like, what kind of logs are those?
No,
That you need to go manually and
It's not removing the lock. It's the one volume that happens to be doing something when the system went down. We've already got lots of cases where that's the case. We're not making anything worse. Those cases will still be there with active. Even today, you can get a lock, you can get a volume stuck in a state by taking services down, particularly rapid. You take the value down at one point, you'll stop. Your message never gets in your API schedule.
But the thing I don't get is, we have a problem now, so we are looking to introduce new features, new things, and we say, okay, we can keep the crappy behavior we have. Because we already have it.
In one go. You can't solve everything in one go. If
we don't solve it,
if a service goes down right now, even with all of your design, if the volume service goes down at the wrong time, after you take a message off the tube before you started doing any work, something will get stuck. Doesn't matter how active you've got.
What do you mean, something that's
But
stuck?
The scheduler puts a message on the queue.
Yeah, you get it?
No,
The
the
message
service
is
is
gone.
dead.
All
The
the
message
messages
is still on the
Service
queue.
dies, it's
Yeah,
like
but
get
look-
stuck in creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, but log only leaking. So if we had the bad luck and the volume, certain volume will die, that will leak the log on the database.
No, this is before you
So
take the
that-
lock. No, this is before you take the lock. You can't hold a lock over an RPC. So if that RPC locked in flight, either to be started valid or BC vol goes down exactly the wrong moment, and I put a sleep in there, make it arbitrarily long, or a network, just make it arbitrarily long.
But if it's not lock is another story. use that in the database. Then if service dies, you will still have this log, and you won't be able to delete this volume because you won't be able to tell if something is actually working on that or not.
But that's true whether you've got a lock or a flag in the database or whatever.
No,
A DLM doesn't tell
file
that.
lock is not true. File locks are free on the server service dies.
So you don't know whether the work is in progress on that instantaneously. The problem with losing the lock when the service dies is that not all in progress work is recorded anywhere at the moment.
And I wanted to say that on eBay we have been using active edit for 4 years. It has been working pretty well, and I don't want that when we might upgrade to Mitaka, then we have to deploy a DLM. So that's our baseline.
Yeah, which is what Duncan is saying. Yeah.
So we don't have that much traffic as Duncan about, but active edit has been working pretty well. In all in the
So it sounds like the patches you had to use the database to solve this locking
I
problem.
have to give it another thought now that we are removing the cleanup, but
because
it's a problem.
If we've got that work in progress table, that tells us you can generate the list of things you've got to clean up, including the deleted stuff from that. If the delete will still exist in there. It's done.
Yeah, problem.
So if we bring that work in progress table in, which I think is a good idea anyway, then.
But the work in progress will not remove those cases where the API sets to deleting and the job doesn't. The node dies before starting.
Well, it will. You leave the delete request in the work in progress. You don't take out the work in progress table until the thing is finally deleted.
Okay, so we would be acquiring the log on the API. Okay, yeah.
I think
I see.
I think we should show that.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
but that's one of the 4 logs.
Okay.
One of the 4 uses.
So the idea is to continue, as I see, we'll discuss it later on the log session, but to not require DLMs for those 4 logs we have in the manager, and let those drivers that actually need it to use the DLM. Okay. Well, we can continue this discussion because I think we have more probably.
So this is for cinder water money.
So
This is for cinder water money. This does not take care of the controller. If you want control.